Off Montevideo, the wind lashes across the deck like a whip. The water is pitch black, the swell low but heavy. Along Graf Spee's hull, a red light blinks once, then dies. A deep, dry boom punches up from inside the ship, like a fist to the chest. Steel plates shiver. Watertight latches spring. Fire shoots out of a ventilation duct, bright gold, dragging thick black smoke behind it. On shore, people crowd the waterfront. No cheers, just waves slamming the pilings and the crackle of fire. Motor launches race out, searchlights cutting the water. A sailor screams over the wind, "Stay back! Stay back!" Graf Spee drifts slowly, slightly listing. Flames lick the mast. Smoke hides half the ship. If you like true Operation War stories, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next part. 72 hours earlier. The River Plate. The sea is bright and clear, flat enough to feel cold. 3 British ships run in line ahead, engines droning under the deck plates. Up in the lookout. A sailor leans on the rail and sweeps his binoculars left, then right. A light wind tugs at his cap. Another checks his watch out of habit, then stares at the horizon as if afraid of missing a tiny stain. On the bridge, footsteps clack fast. The signals officer hurries past, tugs the internal phone line, tests it again. A short bell. Wireless report. Quiet. No unusual traffic. Harwood stands over the chart, a pencil pinched between 2 fingers. His eyes never leave the sea. Then a thin smear of smoke appears to the northwest. At first, it's only a gray thread glued to the horizon. In under 10 seconds, it thickens and rises, sharp enough that the lookout jerks upright. Smoke! Northwest! Binoculars snap up across the deck. Men run to action stations on pure reflex, like their bodies learned the drill years ago. An officer speaks fast, voice flat. Not a merchant. He leans into the glasses, one more beat. Steady smoke, big engines. Harwood steps to the rail. One glance, then back to the chart. The pencil taps once. Hold speed. Aye. The dark speck separates from the horizon. The hull takes shape, low, compact, but heavy. First the turret block, then a second. On Ajax's bridge, someone breathes, almost to himself. Pocket battleship. The alarm siren wails. The action gong rings. Hatch covers slam like sealing an airlock. Men pour down ladders. Ammunition belts scrape across steel. On Exeter, the main guns begin to traverse. Barrels lift degree by degree. Range? Closing. Harwood bends over the chart and draws one clean line with a straight edge. He speaks without raising his voice. Exeter, brake left. Ajax and Achilles, brake right. Increase speed, close in. Orders carry through voice pipes. A short blast on the signal horn. Exeter swings left, bow heeling slightly. A white wake stretching aft. Ajax and Achilles swing right. The distance between the 3 opens like a pincer closing. On the sea other side, inside Graf Spee's director, the sights lock onto Exeter's shadow. A German officer stares into the rangefinder. Target separating from formation. Langsdorff stands tall, one hand on the rail. A single nod. Concentrate on Exeter. The gunnery officer turns. Bearing, range. Keep the lock. Wait for the order. On Graf Spee's deck, the forward turret starts to rotate. Gears hiss low, barrels elevate. Sailors sprint along the deck, dogging down splinter doors. Fire! The shock runs through the ship like a straight kick. Shells leave the barrels, ripping the air. A heartbeat later, a white column of water erupts not far from Exeter. Exeter's deck trembles. A sailor drops to one knee by instinct, one hand clamped on his helmet. Correct the fall, someone barks. The next salvo comes quicker. A second water plume leaps beside the hull, spray hammering the deck like hail. The spotter screams, "Closer! Closer!" Exeter holds course. The helm stays hard. Hold speed, hold heading, the officer snarls. Exeter answers. Guns roar, cordite smoke rolling across the deck. Barrels slam back, then return. Load! A man heaves a shell into the tray, sweat running down his temple. Ajax fires in a fast rhythm, short bursts. Achilles fires from another angle, cutting in, forcing the enemy turrets to keep turning. Sea around them erupts with white spouts, mixed with gray muzzle smoke. Graf Spee's turrets swing left and right. "Keep Exeter," Langsdorff says, hard. An officer cuts in. "The other two are closing." No change. The next salvos land closer. A water column rises right in front of Exeter's bow, white foam swallowing the view. Exeter drives straight through the curtain, deck soaked. Men slip, grab stanchions. "Damage report!" "No hull hit!" Metal shrieks as spray and steel fragments rattle the rails. On the bridge, Harwood glances at the spacing, then snaps, "Stay on, don't break." Ajax and Achilles close another notch. Their guns keep hammering. On Graf Spee, an officer yells, "Splashes close to starboard." Langsdorff doesn't turn. "Hold course, hold fire." The aft turret starts to edge toward a new target, then stops. Exeter fires again. Smoke billows, hiding half the deck. A sailor shouts, "Target in sight!" then cuts off as another water column erupts so close the spray slaps him in the face. The distance collapses fast. The sea feels crowded. No empty space left. The British ships split into two arms, the pincer tightening. Graf Spee sits in the middle of it, turrets whining, salvo after salvo. On Exeter, the voice pipe booms, "Hold formation, no backing off." On Ajax, an officer roars, "Keep the angle, close in." On Graf Spee, Langsdorff stares through the optics. "Don't let them get in close." One more salvo blasts out. White water leaps up. The whole world jolts like it's been yanked from your hands. And the deadly meeting begins to swallow everything. Before the water column can collapse, before the wave even closes, Graf Spee slams in the next salvo. No more ranging shots. The splashes land in a brutal rhythm, stepping closer to Exeter's hull, as if an invisible hand is measuring the distance, meter by meter. On Exeter's deck, salt wind whips straight into faces, but what stings the eyes isn't seawater. It's cordite smoke and the sharp stink of hot metal. A shriek tears through the air. Then, wham! The first hammer blow lands square on the British ship. The deck snaps upward. A steel plate buckles like it's been pried open. Shards of metal sweep across the rail and throw sparks. One man is flung sideways, rolling across the drain channel. A scream bursts out. Short, broken. On the bridge, the voice pipe rattles in the commander's hand. "Report!" A reply comes back, choking on smoke. "Forward compartments, multiple wounded." Exeter keeps firing. The main gun roars inside a wall of thick smoke, recoils, then slides back into battery like a jaw clenching for another bite. "Load!" The loader drags the shell into the tray, boots slipping on the wet deck. Another shot. Then another. Up in the director, someone wipes the sight glass, hands shaking from the concussion. Graf Spee never slows. Her turret barely turns. She's already locked on Exeter. The fall of shot creeps closer. A water pillar erupts right beside the hull, slamming spray across the deck. Men are thrown into bulkheads. A cable jerks hard and rips with a tearing snap. "Hold course! Hold speed!" The shout rolls through the ship, drowning even the wind. To port, Ajax cuts in deeper. To starboard, Achilles inches closer, guns barking in rapid bursts. Their shells aren't heavy enough to break the German ship in a single blow, but every salvo throws up white pillars around Graf Spee, forcing her turrets to swing, to choose, to hesitate for a heartbeat. On Ajax, an officer grinds out, "Cut the angle. Don't. Let her breathe." Achilles answers with a short burst. The reports stacked like hammer strikes. Inside Graf Spee, the intercom screams non-stop. Splashes close, starboard. Splashes close, port. Langsdorff holds still for a beat, eye glued to the optic. Stay on Exeter. The order drops like a nail. The forward turret roars again. The hull shudders. Muzzle smoke sweeps the deck. Exeter takes another hit. This time it isn't just steel being struck. It's the sound of structure cracking. Deeper, longer. A gray plume punches up from forward. A cable spits sparks, raining light down a passageway. Someone clamps both hands to their face, blood slipping through fingers. Medics shouting, boots pounding. A watertight door slams. Bang! On the bridge, the report comes fast. One turret silent, communication severed. But Exeter keeps her bow in. She doesn't turn away. She forces herself forward, like if she gives up even half a beat, the shells will catch her, instantly. Ajax and Achilles stay glued to the fight. They stretch their spacing, closing and turning again and again. Their fire wraps the German ship like wire. Graf Spee's aft turret lunges right, swinging toward Achilles. Achilles snaps her helm over, bow tilting. A long white wake cutting across the line of fire by inches. On Achilles' deck, a sailor shouts, "Too close!" and flattens as spray whips across like thrown stones. Then, through the smoke, one of Exeter's salvos finally bites into Graf Spee's hull. No cheering, only a clipped report from the German engineering spaces. Smoke in the compartment. Another voice barks, "Fuel smell." Corridor lights flicker. Blast doors slam shut. Mechanics rush in, flashlights stabbing wildly. Metal clangs. Water runs somewhere in the dark. "Patch it! Shut the valve! Now!" Langsdorff turns his head. He doesn't see the sea. He sees his own men running under his feet. Back on Exeter, another impact lifts the deck like it's being pried off the water. A stairway twists out of shape. Smoke floods the gunroom. The loader coughs hard, still dragging shells. "Load!" The order breaks in the haze. An officer grips the rail, eyes red and furious. "Don't stop! Don't stop!" Then another voice cuts in, hoarse, cold. "We can't keep this pace much longer." Exeter starts to fall back. She can't hold the line like before. Speed bleeds away, little by little, as if someone is tightening a hand around the ship's throat. On the bridge, the commander looks through smoke toward Ajax. The order comes out plain. Withdraw south. Lay smoke. A white screen spills from the stern, trying to hide the battered hull from the sights still locked on her. Ajax and Achilles never let the target go. They tighten up, keeping just far enough to avoid the full weight of the heavy guns, yet close enough that their shells keep falling around Graf Spee like driving rain. "Ajax," Harwood's voice is short in the pipe. "Stay on, don't lose her." On Achilles, the answer snaps back. "Roger." Graf Spee shifts her rhythm. The forward turret stays on Exeter for one more heartbeat, like it wants to finish the job. Then Langsdorff's gaze slides to the two ships still pressing in. He watches the steady splashes, the drifting smoke, the gap opening. A brief order, turn for the coast. The helm moves. The German bow swings. White water boils at the stern. Graf Spee fires to cover and runs. Ajax and Achilles follow at once. No suicide charge, no slackening. They keep the hunt's exact tempo. Shadow at range, harass with fire, cut the line, deny the German ship even a minute of rest. Binoculars never leave the hull. Over wireless, short commands keep snapping. Hold bearing, keep distance, do not lose contact. Inside Graf Spee's engineering spaces, the shouts keep echoing. Fuel, filters, flashlight in the eye. Command room, Langsdorff checks his watch, then the chart. He doesn't speak long. He only taps the table once. An officer understands, points toward shore. Montevideo. Out on the water, the sea is still flat. The sky is still bright. But from the moment Exeter slips back, the meeting turns into a chase. 2 British ships cling like shadows, never letting go. The German ship runs for harbor. And ahead, the coastline doesn't look like shelter. It looks like a door slowly closing, inch by inch. The German ship drives for the coast with a heavy, steady beat in her engines. Behind her, 2 British cruisers cling like shadows. No suicidal rush, no losing contact. The smoke from the battle still hangs on the horizon, thinning out, but the smell of gunpowder stays in the wind. If you want to hear what happens in the next suffocating hours, subscribe now, because from here, the guns fall silent, but the pressure doubles. When Montevideo finally appears, the water near the coast changes color. The chop gets smaller, but tighter. On Graf Spee's deck, sailors stand pressed to the rail, eyes red from smoke. Some have quick bandages on their arms. Some uniforms are stained with oil. The engines drop to a lower rhythm. From far ahead, the harbor horn howls long, its sound bouncing over the sea like a cold summons. A tugboat comes out to meet them. Signal lights blink. A neutral flag rides high on the bow, snapping in the wind. On Graf Spee's bridge, the liaison officer lifts the speaking tube. Request pilot guidance into port. The reply from shore is dry and hard. Follow the channel, keep low speed, no independent maneuvering. The bow slows. The anchor chain shrieks like something heavy being dragged up from the seabed. Scrape, scrape, a long, grinding pull. Then, thud, the anchor drops. A small shock travels through the hull like a skipped heartbeat. On shore, crowds gather thicker. They pack the pier, watching the gray, scorched ship slide in like a wounded animal. A rope ladder goes down. Port officials climb aboard. Their shoes click on steel. Coats neat. Notebooks held tight to the chest. They don't stare at the burn marks for long. They stare at paperwork. One man sets a file on the table inside the command room. Fresh red stamps glaring on the page. You are permitted medical resupply and minimal repairs. Your stay is strictly time-limited. You may not depart before procedures are completed. Langsdorff stands opposite them. He doesn't sit. His eyes move line by line. Nobody raises their voice. In the room, you hear only the ventilation fan and the slap of water against the hull. A German officer asks, brief and controlled, "We need time to repair." The port official doesn't change tone. Time is time. When the door closes, Langsdorff turns straight to the technical section. Status? The chief engineer steps forward, face smeared with oil, voice rough. Fuel filtration is compromised. Dirty oil. The system is affected. It needs replacement, cleaning. Another officer cuts in. Ammunition is sufficient. The guns still work. The chief engineer shakes his head. The engines run, but a long run is dangerous. Langsdorff doesn't answer with a speech. He glances at the clock on the bulkhead, then the map. His finger pauses at the river mouth, then slides down toward the edge of the harbor. No poetry, just the sound of pencil scraping. Paper. Below decks, the engine crew moves like firefighters. Flashlights swing wildly in narrow corridors. A cover plate pops open. Oil spills out, the smell punching up. Shut the valve. Rags, now. Bring the new filter down. Metal clatters. Someone slips on the wet deck, springs up, keeps hauling a hose. Nobody rests. Everyone keeps looking at the clock on the wall like it's a blade dropping. Up top, medics carry stretchers back and forth. White bandages bloom red. A young sailor sits slumped against a wooden crate, breathing hard, eyes fixed on nothing. Another man pats his shoulder and speaks very softly, like he's afraid to let the sound travel. Stay awake. Outside the harbor mouth, The two British cruisers remain. They don't enter. They don't fire. They simply hold distance and wait. On Ajax's lookout, binoculars never leave the German hull. An officer writes non-stop in a notebook. The radio crackles, short reports breaking apart and snapping back together. Target anchored in port. Hold position. Reinforcements inbound. That message spreads faster than the waves. On the Montevideo waterfront, more people arrive. They point, they argue, voices layer like a swarm. Cameras flash across the water. Graf Spee's sailors stand guard, hands near small arms, eyes constantly scanning. Inside the command room, a German officer lays a scrap of paper on the table. The press says a larger ship is offshore. Langsdorff takes it, scans it. Another scrap follows. Rumors say a fleet is waiting. Voices drop into a near whisper, tight as wire. If we go out, we meet them. If we stay, we're held. Langsdorff stares at the chart. He calls the gunnery officer. Combat readiness? We can fire. He calls the chief engineer again. Engines? The man swallows. They'll run, but not clean. Not for long. Silence stretches through the room. Nobody moves. Outside, the Hydrote wave slap is loud enough to be annoying. Beyond the harbor, another British warship appears in the distance. Just a new gray smear on the sea. On Ajax, a sharp call goes up. Another ship joining station. On Achilles, the watch officer lets out a short, dry laugh, then stops and goes back to the optics. They don't need to enter the port. They only need to stand there, long enough. On Graf Spee, the mechanics keep wrestling with oil and piping. Hammer blows, wrenches tightening, hard breathing. Someone looks up, face blackened with oily smoke. One section done. The chief engineer doesn't celebrate. Next, faster. Langsdorff steps onto the deck. He looks at the shoreline, the crowd, then out through the harbor mouth. The sky begins to darken. The wind shifts. Offshore, the gray dots sit there, unmoving as stone. He stands for a long beat. Then he turns back inside, voice calm but cutting. Prepare to leave port. An officer fires the question instantly. Heading. Langsdorff answers, out. No one claps. No one adds a word. Only a pencil draws one final line across the chart. And down in the engine spaces, bolts keep tightening. Because when the ship leaves the harbor, everything has to work, clean or not. The harbor horn holds one long note, echoing over the water like a clean cut. The anchor chain screams, heavy and slow, one pull at a time. On Graf Spee's deck, sailors stand in lines, staring toward the harbor mouth. A stretcher team hurries past. Rope handlers drag and brace, knuckles white. No one raises their voice. You hear only the engines starting to build their tempo, and the quiet tremor of steel beneath your feet. The bow lifts, then slides forward. From shore, the crowd packs tight against the railing. Camera flashes pop. Someone shouts a sentence and stops, as if the words die in their throat. Graf Spee leaves the pier and slips into the narrow channel like a wounded animal that refuses to look back. Motor launches run alongside. Signal lamps blink non-stop. On the jetty, an officer stares out past the harbor mouth, where the open sea looks like a black mouth waiting to swallow. Out there, gray silhouettes still hold their station. No advance, no gunfire, just position. Their binoculars never leave the German hull. A hoarse voice crackles through the talker. Safe distance. Keep the beat. Don't close in. Graf Spee clears the harbor. Offshore, the swell thickens. The wind hits harder. The ship yaws slightly, her bow angling toward shallow water ahead. On deck, a group of sailors breaks off and moves fast toward midship. They carry heavy canvas bags. One man clutches a wooden box, walking as if he's afraid to drop it. An officer leads them and snaps back in a low shout. Move, no delays. They open a sealed hatch. Inside is dark, only weak yellow light. The smell of oil and smoke clings to everything. A man hauls on a line and a steel cover pops up. They lower the bags down carefully, like placing a heart on an operating table. A metal click. Another man pulls out a detonator, his hand trembling slightly. The officer leans in. Lock it? Aye. The steel lid slams shut. The latch bites with a dry, sharp snap. On deck, others start shifting gear into the boats. Rope slides through palms, burning. One sailor looks back toward the shore and swallows hard. Another refuses to look anymore. He just bends down, ties the knot, and yanks it once more, hard, like certainty can be tightened. Abandon ship! The order comes short. No speech, no explanation. The boats drop. Their hulls slap the water, spray kicking up along the sides. Men jump down, boots skidding on wet planks. One man turns and looks back at the ship for exactly one beat. On the gray steel, the burn marks are still dark, like bruises. He wants to say something, then doesn't. He grabs his buddy's arm. Go. Engines surge. White water rips behind the stern. One boat, then a second, then a third. They pull away from the ship like blood leaving a heart. On Graf Spee, the deck begins to empty. Sealed doors close one by one. Each slam echoes into the wind. On shore, people crowd even closer. No one understands exactly what's happening, but everyone feels something about to break. The sea grows uncomfortably silent. Birds circle, then scatter. 1 second of quiet. Then the blast blooms from inside the hull. Not the crack of gunfire. This is low, heavy, like a punch thrown up from under the seabed. Graf Spee jolts. A pillar of flame erupts through a ventilation gap, bright yellow, dragging thick black smoke. Steel fragments fly out and splash down with a clear, wet plop. The fire surges again. The smoke column stands tall, and the wind leans it toward shore like a black flag. In the boats, sailors duck on reflex, hands over their heads. Someone yells, "Faster! Faster!" Throttles open, engines howl, white spray whips faces. No one looks back now. Graf Spee drifts slowly, listing slightly. Fire climbs the mast. Smoke hides half the ship. Smaller detonations follow, sharp, rattling pops, like someone hammering steel from the inside. The water around the hull boils with bubbles. A dark sheen of oil spreads, glossy and black, widening like ink. Outside the harbor mouth, the gray silhouettes keep their distance. Binoculars point straight at the smoke. No one fires, no one moves in. A dry radio call, short and flat. Target burning, hold position. On shore, the crowd steps back a pace, as if heat pushes them away. Some cover their mouths. Some stand frozen, eyes unblinking. Firelight flickers across their faces in pulses, flashing through waves of smoke. Night begins to fall. The flame still burns. The smoke still rolls. The sea is still black. Graf Spee lies out there, so close yet so far, like a body that refuses to cool. Along the waterfront, the German crew starts to come ashore. They walk in lines, silent, uniforms still smelling of oil, eyes still red from smoke. No music, no ceremony, only footsteps mixing with the waves. And while the glow offshore still stains the sky, one last question hangs in the air. Not for them, but for you. If it were you, would you charge back out to sea for one final fight, or scuttle the ship to save your men?